Howdy folks, welcome back to Did You Pack Snacks? My name is Colin.
And I'm Meg.
And this is the family travel podcast where we chat all things high, all things low, all the long miles in between of traveling with kids. We're coming at you live from Charleston, South Carolina.
Let me paint the picture for you right now. We are not doing video. This is the first time that if you're watching it, most of you won't even notice. But if you're watching on YouTube, there's just going to be a picture. We're not showing our faces because we're in a hotel room. Our girls are on their iPads with headphones over their ears. There's just not a scene to film, so we're leaving that part out.
No.
But we're still showing up.
Yeah, and guess what? We're back at the Holiday Inn, y'all. Why? Because it's just economical. I know we've been having a little tiff with them recently, especially the one in Anaheim. But we are back in Charleston. I'm on a work trip, but we kind of came a few days early to do a family vacation. And we thought, you know what? I think we need to talk about how to actually rest on a family vacation. Granted, this is a semi-work trip, so there's not a lot of rest going on, but we know deep down the things that we need to do if we were to have a restful vacation.
Well, yeah, and I will say that it's restful in the sense that most of the time when we go to a new place, which side note, I do think it's really cute that our kids will say things like, "Are we in Europe right now?" And I'm like, "No."
Or, "Mom, when we get back to America..."
I'm like, "Guys, we literally drove here. It's 3 hours from our house." They're so confused about how we're on a trip and they're staying in a hotel, but it's not anywhere far away. It's so funny.
I mean, Liv said the other day, this is not a trip. Unless we flew somewhere in another country. Yeah, this is not real.
But most of the time when we go somewhere new, we have this whole agenda. And, some of that is the life we've created for ourselves. We like to share content. We like to share the things to do, the places to eat, how to explore a new city with kids. But when we got here, that was the intention. And then all of that went out the window because some of the things we're going to talk about later in the episode, we just needed a trip away to turn our brains off. And I'll say that at least for myself because Colin still has to work some of the days. But in general, when it comes to travel, creating and exploring and just feeling like we have to check off all the things that there is to do here.
Making reels, going to cute coffee shops and restaurants.
Yeah, we just
none of that.
We just turned it off.
Yeah.
And it's been really refreshing. And so that just is kind of where this idea came to be like, you know what? Sometimes we don't have to plan the bougie, dreamy bucket list trip. That's not what we always need.
And if we're being real, you don't want to come along with us to Charleston, South Carolina on a spring break mookery family vacation because it looks like this. We wake up, we get our Holiday Inn breakfast,
which is so predictable. It's incredible.
Everywhere in the country, it's like I get that omelet, that perfect omelet with the American singles cheese in it. I get my coffee, and then the kids get their pancakes, except the pancake machine here is broken. I need to talk to the manager about that. The saga continues. And then, you either get bacon one day or you get sausage patties. All right, so we get our Holiday Inn breakfast, and then we jet for the beach. Well, it takes about an hour and a half to pack and get everybody in the car, bathing suits on, all that stuff.
No, then we make a stop at Trader Joe's to get lunch for the beach because we go to the beach spot where you don't pay. So there's no bathrooms, no food, no water.
No, nothing.
So we get all of our snacks. We go find parking.
Yep. And then we just sit and then we just parent and we just people watch for hours.
Yeah.
I
will say the most interesting part of our day
Yeah.
is the people watching because,
it's
man,
so fun.
It's I would say it's equivalent to watching people in malls.
Yeah.
Like if you're ever, just tired of shopping and you sit down at one of those benches in the middle of the mall, you just take in the humans around you. It's always a good time. And man, people watching in Charleston at the beach has been a good time for me.
all kinds of parenting,
all kinds of people,
all kinds of yapping. You have the people that show up with all their gadgets and gears and then half people are just sitting on their beach towel.
And then sometimes, most of the time, when you travel, you want to eat at the places that the people want to eat. You don't want to miss out. And Charleston has insane.
And where have we eaten, Megan?
Well, I'm just saying that Charleston's like known for having incredible restaurants.
Yes.
And we have chosen...
This trip, we've done Jersey Mike's. Y'all, I haven't had a chicken bacon ranch sub in a while. It took me back to college.
We ate at a local Mexican restaurant tonight.
That sounds very like a local Mexican restaurant, but it's not. I mean, you know what we're talking about.
We know what we're talking about. And then yesterday...
we went to... What?
Yesterday... We walked out of 2 restaurants. We like embarrassed our kids because I wanted to go to Cava. We walked in. You know how you can just tell sometimes when you walk into a restaurant that they're all having an off day? Like the trash can's overflowing, the tables are dirty, and then you glance over at the ingredients that at Cava, which if you don't know, it's kind of like a Mediterranean Chipotle, so you can like see all of the ingredients, and you look back at the wall of salad and there's not really anything in there. So
it's screaming, "Do not eat me."
So we were like, oh, we'll go somewhere else. Walk into a second restaurant, and it was one of those like mom and pop Asian restaurants.
Right. That like, you know, when you walk in and there's no one else there, you're like, oh, okay. So I literally put the phone to my ear and goes, oh, sorry, we can't. We
hadn't ordered yet. We hadn't ordered yet.
We gotta go.
But we're walking out and Charlotte's like, what's going on with you guys?
And I'm like, I just want a restful vacation, guys. And I don't want to eat somewhere that's going to give me like diarrhea.
Okay.
And so we ended up we like, all right, let's splurge. Let's go all out. It's spring break. Let's go to P.F. Chang's.
You picked that.
And it was still like...
It was still
underwhelming.
Just okay. Yeah,
like,
it wasn't that great.
Yeah.
Anyway, but the whole point of that long story and saga is that we're not putting the pressure on ourselves to even eat at the places that everybody says to eat while we're here. It's just like, it's all gone. And it feels...
Amazing.
It really does.
Yeah.
In a different way. And not that I would want every trip to be like this, because obviously I love travel and I love doing all the things.
Yeah.
But I just think there's so many things like going on in our life right now. Some that we've shared, some that we'll share soon.
Jeez, you make it sound as if like we have I don't know, gossip corner over here.
Maybe we do.
We're not getting a pet.
We're not a pet?
Yeah.
Why would anybody think that we were getting a pet?
I don't know. Like, that's one of the things that families do. Like, we're getting a dog.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine if I teased getting a dog?
People are like, we don't care.
Big announcement coming in 3 weeks. Anyway, I just feel like we're in one of those seasons where there are a lot of moving pieces in our life. I'll say that. I mean, our niece is literally moving in with us in like 4 days.
Right.
And so I just think that in this season, being off on this trip isn't what we thought we would do, but it feels really nice.
No, it's great.
Yeah.
And which ties right back into today's episode. But before we jump into all that, y'all, we got a burning question.
Yes, we do.
We received a question from a Kelsey that asked, guys, how do I get to Stockholm in August for cheap? Are there any cheap websites? And it's a loaded question. And we've already answered her what our take is on it, but we just kind of wanted to bring it to the surface again. If you are new to this podcast, or if you listen to this podcast for a while now, we always say don't have a specific time and a specific destination in mind. Like, that's always like a bad way to start, right?
Well, no, not necessarily bad. It's just the expensive way to start. You're not necessarily going to find a deal when you have a date and a location already in mind.
Which I know is 50% of the time. Like, you go to a place because there's something going on and you want to go see it. I.e., I need to go to Stockholm because Taylor Swift is playing May 17th to the 19th. How do I know that? It's a touchy subject. We almost went. We didn't go. Anyways, so the way we answered Kelsey is through a few different things. First of all, my first thing I said was Google Flights. Like, that's your start and that's your end. Like, always do that. And then what I always do is, because they have such great features on there, you put in your destination, and then I don't put the dates in. I go look at the months and I look for those green numbers. And that's how I go, oh, okay. Oh, so you can fly this airline from here. Oh, what if I go from this city instead? And then, so that's how you get like your overall vibe of like where the
Your
cheap prices
outline.
are, your outline. And then once you get those green numbers popping up, then I like to book directly with the airline. But that's how I find my cheap flights. We also use services like Going that sends me cheap flights every day. And then what I also told Kelsey was using the strategy of positioning flights. So instead of flying out of our local airport, I'm like, hey, what if you did a road trip at the beginning and the end? And say you fly out of Washington, D.C., or what if you bought really cheap flights? Like Southwest has sales all the time, and like fly to New York and then, I don't know, go from there. And that will always get you a better deal. Or instead of flying to Stockholm, why don't you fly to Copenhagen and then take a train there or take a bus there? I don't know. There's a lot of creative ways to save money, and you get to see more.
Yeah, I would say that most of the time when we're taking a big international trip, we save enough money to make it worth it to fly out of either New York or somewhere in Washington, D.C., like in that area.
Yeah. Yeah. And what ended up happening with Kelsey was I literally went to Google Flights for 2 minutes and I saw that August was like expensive. And then Play Airlines flying out of DC directly to Stockholm was for $300. In
August or September?
In September. So I said, Kelsey, can you wait a couple more weeks and go in September? She was like, yeah. And I was like, great. You probably have to pay for seats and bags. So your ticket's going to be like $400-ish. But still, drive a couple of hours, fly directly to Stockholm, save a lot of money.
There you go. There you have it.
And so that's, sorry if that was a long answer, but
Colin
just wanted to refresh your memory.
Colin is now a certified travel agent. Go to bookwithcolin.com and he can do all the legwork for you too.
That's right. That website
kidding.
does not exist.
I'm just kidding. And he's not a travel agent, but he does have some good tips.
Yep. Okay, really quick before we jump into today's episode, which I'm really excited about. It'll be a good moment of reflection. Just want to quickly remind y'all that we have very fun Did You Pack Snacks merch on our website. We got a couple teas. We got a tote bag, which has worked great at this beach trip. We've been filling it up with sandwiches and tortillas and Nutella, which is, I think, like our kids' favorite snack anywhere in the world. You can always find a knockoff Nutella and some tortillas, and we call it a chocolate roll-up. Anyways, we've got some
crazy
merch.
nutritious.
Yep. colinmeg.com/store. Check that out. And if you do like this podcast, we would love for you to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, rate us on Spotify, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of that in order to unite moms and dads around the world who just love to travel.
Okay, so to start us off, I have a question for you.
Okay.
If you could pick anywhere in the world to go on a trip specifically with the intention of relaxing, where would you go?
I want to go somewhere warm. Doesn't matter where, as long as it's warm. It's got a pool and a beach, and I want to go to an all-inclusive family thing where they can like go off to a kids club, whatever it is. I don't have to worry about food. So all-inclusive thing. Maybe it's even a cruise. I could even do a cruise as long as it's all-inclusive. I just want to take all the planning out. That's where I'm going.
I was going to say my answer is really similar. I mean, I could change up the location. Like if budget wasn't an issue, I would do an all-inclusive resort in Greece or Italy or anywhere tropical. Sounds really fun. But I think the all-inclusive part is kind of the key because so much effort goes into like meal planning or figuring out where to eat or what to eat or shopping for meals. I feel like, you could kind of DIY your own inclusive experience and hire a chef and a babysitter. But ultimately, that's what you're looking for is someone to watch your kids, someone to make your dinner, and to have mindless activities.
I already changed my mind.
What?
I think we gave the most boring answer. And the next thing I'm going to say trumps it a million times.
Okay.
Forget all the all-inclusive, somewhere warm, somewhere pool thing, okay?
Okay.
This is where I would go if I want ultimate relaxation with the whole family. I would go on a luxury safari cruise. Like, not cruise, luxury safari, like, trip. Because 10 out of 10, it's going to have a pool.
Yep.
And we would, but if there's something about being out in nature and wildlife that instantly, like, shuts off all of our brains to where every single day, like, that is our focus and we're out in nature. And all our conversations are centered around wildlife, conservation, beauty. And so, we're not just taking care of meals, and which all those are included.
Yeah, that's
activities,
true.
Relaxation, meals. But we're also like, it's like a step further. It even takes care of like our conversation and our pace, because I just flashed to like the future where we're all at an all-inclusive and like, one person wants to go to the beach. One person wants to go to the pool. I want to go to this restaurant. You want to go to that restaurant. But I'm like, whoa, wait. What about a safari trip? It doesn't even have to be luxury because we've done the not luxury. And there's something about
just
being in
nice
nature.
enough that everything else is included.
Yeah. Maybe a little tub that we can dip in, to escape the heat. But yeah.
Okay, so my answer is going to change because I don't want to be boring.
Yeah.
And I would stay. I would. Okay, I'm going to be that person. I'm going to DIY it. I'm going to bring my own babysitter. I'm going to hire my own chef. And I'm going to stay. And we're going to go with like 2 or 3 families.
Yes.
So that there's like community. Because I think there's something restful about just, I don't know, being around your people. And we're going to be in some little, I don't even know what city, but some little Italian city. We're going to all rent Vespas. And like our days are like...
Make up a name of a little town.
I don't want to.
First word that came to my mind was Parmigiano.
Oh, gosh.
It's a mixture of Parmesan and Maine.
Yeah, see, that's why I said I didn't want to. I didn't want to embarrass myself.
Can't wait to go to Parmigiano.
But I think to wake up in the morning, have somebody there making you the most beautiful breakfast... Then you sit outside and you're drinking your coffee. Your kids are playing out in the yard. The babysitter's like organized activities. Wow. And then the adults just go on a little Vespa drive to grab lunch.
Wow.
That sounds like a dream to me.
That sounds like, yeah, I would do that too. If money was not an option. Mine feels a little more realistic.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, not DIYing it for sure. But I like those answers. Livy, do you have something to say?
I'm trying to figure out what's the first Tarzan when the gorilla finds Tarzan.
The name of the movie is Tarzan.
I know, but what's the first one?
Where it says Tarzan, it doesn't have a 2 at the back. Do you want me to show you? All right, guys, we're going to take a Tarzan break. All right, folks, we're back. I wish Phil Collins brought us back to the episode.
I know. Maybe you should.
2 worlds, 1 family.
2 worlds.
Okay, Meg, we got to do this. How to actually rest and relax on a family vacation.
Okay, so quick preface. These are not things that we actually do right now.
I mean, yet. Like, these are our ideals. We do like 80% of them.
Yeah, these are definitely ideals. So just know that going in. Okay.
So let's kick off with something that we have never done before.
Which I'm laughing because I literally got a quote 20 minutes before recording this, and Colin goes,
nah.
No.
I'll do it.
Okay, but I said it would be so nice to schedule a cleaner to come clean the house while you're gone on said trip.
Imagine not having to leave the house in squeaky clean conditions.
Or just going home and it's better than you left it. That just makes going home like so much more exciting.
Yeah.
So,
but I was even mentioning like before the trip because I get so tired from just cleaning.
Yeah, I have some expectations. I like to leave things pretty tidy.
Imagine like all you had to do was like run the dishwasher and I don't know, tidy up.
Yeah. That's really what we do though.
Yeah, but it always gets longer and longer. I end up scrubbing the oven.
Well, let's just say I'm leaving a little Easter egg here, if you will.
Okay.
That one way for my husband to make me really excited is to schedule a
Yeah,
cleaner.
you don't have to
before we get
leave
home.
any Easter eggs. You've made it very clear in our 10 years of marriage that
I just think that would be so fun to come home and have a clean house.
Every
So that-
2 months, I walk into a room, Megan goes, oh, this girl says she's starting to clean the house now. I'm going to send her a DM.
Okay, so we're thinking that should be something that you add to your list.
Yeah.
And just make everything easier.
Come home to a clean house. And then I this was our last point on our list of things to say, but I'm going to bring it up because it kind of ties in. Mm-hmm. But schedule, like, and this is like all common sense, but scheduling a buffer day, like take that extra, even if it's just a half day PTO, or come back on a Saturday so you have Sunday. You know, there's nothing worse than like rushing back into your job.
Oh, yeah.
And rushing back into routine and like coming home from vacation and making sure that your kids have everything they need for school. Oh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like anytime we get home, it takes all the energy, regardless of if we've been traveling for 30 hours or 4. It takes all of our energy just to get everyone into bed that night.
Yeah.
That I feel like if we had to wake up and immediately go back to our life,
Yeah.
that would be so stressful.
Now, I will say we've done this pretty okay, you know, but given the nature of my job, working remote and, you know, having flexible hours.
Yeah, that helps.
And homeschool, you know, not really going to school every single day of the week, that kind of helps too. So
I also think that scheduling a buffer day can apply during your trip as well. I think a part of having a restful vacation is just making sure that you have time that's like unaccounted for.
yeah.
You know, that you get somewhere and you're like looking around, what do I want to do today? Or
Yeah.
maybe I don't have anything planned and I can skip the hotel breakfast and we can go to brunch at 10. Like just having that flexibility in your schedule, I
But
think
why would you skip Holiday Inn breakfast?
Why wouldn't you?
I mean, sounds like tomorrow morning is a perfect time. We've done this breakfast 2 or 3 times now.
I know. I'm ready to branch out. Okay, and number 3, something we've never done before that
Yeah.
I can remember.
That we would happily accept applications for.
Yeah, we've never brought a babysitter.
Yeah. We've always talked about it.
We've always talked about it, and there's no reason essentially why we haven't other than
Cost.
just like, well, I mean, yeah, we'd have to pay for their accommodations, but also thinking like, would anyone want to spend that much time with us?
I mean, but we've also, I will say like the past 2-3 years, our trips have been like very family focused. So like
Yeah.
I want every family member there. Like we're not necessarily, this is our one trip, so we need some time away from the kids.
Yeah, that's true.
That might be coming in the future.
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of been a all hands on deck kind of trip where we do everything together. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure the babysitter would even be having fun
I
because
know.
they're like, wow, they go hard.
Yeah, I think that people that I see that do this really well have great relationships with like their parents or in-laws, or not even necessarily great relationship, but they, I mean, they do. That's not the point I'm trying to make.
They'll feed your kids.
That their parents or in-laws are able to travel with them. That's what I meant. That they're able to take off work, or they have the financial means that they can tag along. And so I think traveling with family is like so incredible because you get that like experience to make memories together as a family. Nobody's feeling like they're missing out. They want to be there just as much as you want them to be there.
Yeah.
But then you also get that added benefit of like, all right, grandma and grandpa, you're feeling a little tired tonight. You stay home with the kids and we're going to go out on a date night. Like, or vice versa, you know, the grandparents can go out. I just think that that dynamic of being able to travel with extended family
Yeah.
is a huge blessing that we've done in really small doses, like with your parents,
Right.
and reaped some of the benefit of just being like, why don't you go to the hotel room next door, and like getting a break from the kids.
Yes.
But I think when I've seen people do these long trips with their in-laws or their parents, I'm like, that is the ideal setup.
Yeah.
Like traveling with extended family. So if you have that option in the dynamics of your family, I would look into that.
Yeah.
Like dream up a trip and then invite them to come.
I would do the opposite. I'm like, hey, take these kids to McDonald's.
Yeah.
And I'm going to lay in bed and get room service. Like, that's what I would do. Instead of, hey, you guys stay at the hotel. We're going to go out and explore.
Well, it just depends where you are. It depends where you are.
Sure.
But I'm just saying.
But right now, room service sounds great.
Because if you brought just a babysitter saying like, hey, we're in Italy. You stay at the hotel with our kids. We're going to go eat homemade pasta.
Oh, if I'm in Italy,
and
yeah.
drink wine.
Bye-bye. Ciao, as they say.
Well, but the babysitter is like missing out. There's this pressure of like, I feel like if a babysitter came, I'd be like, don't babysit my kids. I want you to have just as much fun as me. But
yeah, see, I would be that person. I would be like, man, it sucks for you that you have to stay. Just come. Just come.
Right. That's why I'm saying the family dynamic is the ticket.
Where you have like a little less mercy.
Or yeah. Not even, you know what I mean. Yeah. I just think it's an easier dynamic.
Yeah.
But just an idea to throw out there, bring a babysitter or your in-laws might be a great idea on your next trip to help make it more relaxing.
Now, if you do not have family or a babysitter, plan a friend's trip. There is nothing more fun than going on a trip with friends. Like, even when we went on our one and only all-inclusive trip, was that pre-COVID? Yeah, pre-COVID. And we said, hey, we had 2 kids under 2. We were like, let's go on the Colin and Meg trip. And we went, and after about like day 2, I was like, man, it'd be really fun if all our friends were here.
Yeah, well, and I think if you're traveling with your kids, having a family come with you, you have built-in like things for your kids to do.
Yeah, which reminds me of our annual beach trip that we take with our friends to Florida. Like, it is so much fun to just chit-chat about nothing on the beach while the kids are playing.
Yeah. I mean, because if you don't bring friends, you have to pray for beach friends.
Oh, that's a bonus tip. Once you get to that beach, you scour that beach for some, those kids look like fun. They look like they're in the same grade.
And then put your chairs right next to their parents.
Yep. And then what I learned this week in Charleston is that I'm going to be the one that initiates hey, what's your name? What grade are you in? And that's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
And then I slowly fade into the background.
Way to go, babe.
Yeah. Pro tips.
Okay, number 4, you wrote this, so I'm going to let you talk about it. Schedule time apart in smaller groups.
Yep. This strategy actually came about from a blog I read a long time ago on how to travel on planes more stress-free. And one of the suggestions was you all don't have to sit together. Like, sit apart from each other. Dad, you take this kid. Mom, you take this kid. And you kind of just do like man to man or zone to zone, and you create your own rules, and so the kids are not like fighting. You kind of like, yeah, you're with dad, and you know what, we're gonna have our little date on the plane. And so same strategy, same thinking when it comes to going on a trip. Schedule some time together. You want to go to the aquarium together, you want to go to the beach together, but then in the afternoons be like, hey, I'm going to take this kid and we're going to go on our date. We're going to go get ice cream. And then I'm taking you tomorrow. Or mom, you and her do this. And then like making things smaller just creates more like intentional time. And also, I think just breaking it up keeps it interesting, keeps it exciting, changes the dynamics.
Yeah, and I mean, even today, like you were working all day. And so I had the kids, and around 4, I was like, all right, you take them. You go do something. And just being able to like switch off my brain and like that permission to just do nothing until dinner just felt restful to me. Like it's kind of like you're just you're bouncing, you're passing the restful ball.
Yeah.
You're taking turns.
Wow. You sound like a yoga instructor.
I sound like a tired mom. Okay, number 5. This is actually our last one because we've squeezed the other ones into like the conversation already.
This is my favorite one.
So the last one is that every meal doesn't have to be cute.
Or everywhere you go doesn't have to be Instagram worthy.
Yeah.
Like
you could occasionally go to Starbucks.
Yeah.
If you wanted to.
Or every day.
Oh yeah, you could choose to get your kids a Happy Meal one afternoon if that's what's going to make you and them happy.
And you can get that Big Mac with mac sauce on it and make yourself happy, like me.
I was going to say, and live with utter regret for the next 12 hours.
No. Maybe.
Yes. Okay. But I'm just saying, you don't have to eat at like the to-do places. Like we were kind of sharing about our experience this week. It's been so refreshing to not do all the research and to just be like, man, I kind of feel like eating Mexican food tonight. I feel like eating whatever, and then just going to a restaurant that's familiar. And granted, that's possible because we are in a place that's familiar to where we live. If we were traveling out of the country, it would be a little bit harder to do that. But yeah, I just think that not putting the pressure to eat at cute places.
Yeah. I would say
restful.
We do that when we travel too. Like sometimes our meals are literally at gas stations.
Yeah.
And then we just like get a hearty snack from anywhere we could find. And so I think in general, this whole podcast, if we can say it from the top to the end, it's just lower your expectations.
Yeah. Or just give yourself permission to make the priority, like just being present with your kids, taking the morning slow if you need be, and not doing that thing, that pressure that we put on ourselves.
Yeah.
To like pack our days with all the things.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I'm not at home. I'm visiting somewhere new. So I have to do everything that new place has to offer me. And just like removing that expectation and just decide, like going about your days however you want to.
Yeah. I think we unintentionally had a check-in at the beginning of the trip. Because I remember we were driving somewhere and you said, Colin, I don't feel like making videos this trip.
Yeah.
And then I was like, maybe we can do stories. And then like 30 seconds later, I said, who cares?
Yeah.
Nobody asked for it.
Yeah.
And so just having a check-in just like relieves like the pressure.
Yeah.
And
your check-in might sound more like,
man, I really want to go to this place.
Yeah. Or I really don't care about dressing up and going out to eat downtown tonight. I'd rather wear comfy clothes all day and get takeout, Yeah.
Because you know what sounds like a dream?
What?
And this goes back to the question earlier when we asked each other, like, what sounds relaxing? We had some friends from church that just came back from a cruise, and they just did the most baller thing. I mean, they have twins, they have another daughter, so older kid, so a lot going on. But they went on a cruise, and they were like, nope, we're not dressing up. We're not going to any of the fancy restaurants. B, we're not getting off this boat. People can wake up at 6 a.m. and go on their excursion. We're staying.
Yeah,
and
they said the best time is when everyone else is on the excursion, that the boat is like so chill.
Right. And so like I felt like they went in with a game plan.
Yeah, they had permission that they weren't going to, like they were just taking things off the table.
Right.
And that they got to go in and experience the cruise the way that they wanted to experience it. No peer pressure.
Right. And they said they were lounging by the pool while everyone else was like, we gotta go. The excursion master planner is like, you gotta be at this deck. Group C, you're leaving in 15 minutes. And they're just laughing, people watching. And so, in the same vein, I kind of want to do more trips like that. But have no fear. It's in our nature.
We're not retiring.
No. This is not. This podcast is not gonna turn into a senior living.
Yes, we went on a trip to Peru and we did nothing worth talking about.
The hotel was great.
We passed on Machu Picchu. Who cares?
Yeah.
No. We still care very much so.
Right.
This was just timely and needed.
Yeah, and you know what? We gotta stay healthy.
You gotta stay healthy.
you gotta also love travel and not burn out. And I don't want to burn out. I just want to keep traveling and just keep doing this until I'm old, until the girls are older. So yeah,
thanks for listening to us talk about doing nothing. I'm just kidding.
So you go and do the same. And while you're at it, do not forget to pack snacks. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye.